Hello, and welcome back to the podcast of Steel. I'm your host, Luke Bugg, the Geek of Steel. And as you can probably tell, there's no guest on this episode. It is just little old me. Today, if all things go correctly, is Friday the 18th of April. It is Superman Day, a day that's very exciting for me for obvious reasons. And there is hype all around the world for Superman Day and for Superman and DC Comics. It is a fantastic time to be a Superman fan. This year has been so exciting already. I've talked about this quite a lot on other podcasts. It's a fantastic time to be a Superman fan. Don't get me wrong, it's always a great time to be a fan of the Man of Steel, but there is something right now. There is a buzz. There is something very, very exciting. What with the new James Gunn film coming out this July, fantastic TV shows and comics, it is just a wonderful time. And anytime I get to talk about Superman, it makes me very happy. So, on this episode, where it is just me, I will be talking all about Superman, funnily enough, and my love for the character, my journey to where I am today as Luke Bugg and Luke Bugg, the Geek of Steel. And as many of you know, you wonderful listeners and watchers, one of my favorite things to ask guests is, what does Superman mean to you? And on the end of this podcast, I will ask myself that question and give my answer. And it often changes, but I'm going to talk about Superman, and that makes me happy. So there we go. So my origin story, I suppose. This is normally the moment on the podcast where I introduce my guest and learn more about them. But it's me today. So yes, Luke Bugg, the Geek of Steel. I am a proud Portsmouthian from the south coast of England. And I'm a Superman fan. I'm a geek. I'm a lover of pop culture. I enjoy asking questions and learning more about what people are passionate about. And over the years, I would say I have evolved. I've certainly not grown up, but I have evolved. And many a year ago, I would never have dreamt that I would be sat in front of a camera talking about Superman without a script as such. Now, don't get me wrong, I've got notes. I've always got notes around me. I'm always prepared, whether it be my trusty Daily Planet journal or a script or a notepad. I was nervous. I was a bit shy. I don't think I had much confidence before I started doing all this, the Geek of Steel things. But let's go right back before the Geek of Steel became a thing and talk about Superman and where Superman came into my life. I think for many of us, Superman has always been there. That logo that you can see all around me is a classic logo, something that is as recognizable as the McDonald's Golden Arches or the Coca-Cola logo. But for me, it was one fateful Sunday morning, many a moon ago, when I put on my television and I started watching a TV show. I wasn't sure what kind of show it was, but I recognized the names and the storyline and the characters. And it was Smallville. And I loved that episode. And from that episode, I was hooked. I really enjoyed the storytelling, the combination of comic culture and action and teen drama, and with a little bit of romance, and of course the fantastic soundtrack. After season 1 ended, I wanted more. Back in the day, way back in the day, second seasons weren't always guaranteed. And especially here in the UK, we didn't know if we would get that second season, if a TV station over here would be able to obtain the rights to play it. But luckily we did. But I still was unsure. So once that season ended, I wanted to learn more about these characters. I wanted something to tide me over until the next season came out. So I started reading comics. I asked people what I should read and what is on their top 10 list, and my library, which you can see here behind me, grew from that moment. And so did my love for Superman. And with that, my love for Clark Kent and Lois and Lex and Krypto, of course, who is also behind me. I fell in love with that world of superheroes, of journalism, of doing the right thing, and learning more about this classic character from the world of comics and pop culture and history. It's almost a century now since Superman donned the pages of Action Comics #1, and I will talk a bit about that and its creators a bit later on. But he's been around for almost a century, and I love that. And I've not been around for a century yet. I hope to get there one day. But over the last few decades, my love for Superman has grown. My collection has grown as well. There was a time in my life when I would want every single thing with the Superman logo on it, whether it be cups or clothes or pasta. I've got some pasta shapes. That's what I'm looking at right now. Some pasta shapes that I won at a charity auction in America a few years ago. Yes, but the collection grew and it grew and it grew, as did my love for Superman and his, I would say, relationship in my life. I have these wonderful moments where I would get text messages from family members or friends saying, "Oh, I've got the TV on, Superman's playing, or Superman 2 is on. Are you watching it?" And I love that. The big head in me loves it when somebody sees my hero and associates me with him. When they would be in a shop or a gift shop and they would find something Superman related and they think, "Oh, I wonder if Luke's got that, or if Luke would like that as a Christmas present." And spoiler alert, I always do. Anytime I unwrap a gift that I can see that classic Superman logo, I am a big fan. And when that gift is unique or something that I haven't seen before or is handmade, I am over the moon. I'm ecstatic that somebody went to such great thought to get me such a wonderful gift. And yes, with that, as I say, the collection over the years has grown. Everything from comics and books and Funko Pops and pins to shot glasses. There is something for everybody when it comes to collecting. And I have got books and shelves and boxes scattered around this particular Fortress of Solitude and in spare rooms and in the loft. Right now, this particular setup, it's nice and tidy. It's nice and clean. There's tidy shelves and a well-displayed shelf of steel. But don't get me wrong, behind this camera, the illusion is everywhere. It's over the illusion. There's neat piles of books and comics and artwork all over the place. And I love it. I love being surrounded by Superman. There's always something on my person that is Superman related, whether it be a bracelet, a watch, a shirt, a hat, a tattoo, which is here. It's up there somewhere. There we go. We can just about see it. Let's do that, actually. I'm not going to strip off. Don't worry. I don't want to get told off by YouTube. But there is a Superman tattoo right there as well. I've always tempted the idea of getting a Superman sleeve, but I've never found the right artist, and I'm a bit of a weakling. I've not got much of a pain threshold. But I digress, as that will happen a lot on this episode, as I have no guest to rein me in. But, as I said, I've got notes. We're going to be talking about a lot of stuff. But, yes, from that fateful day when Smallville came into my life, I became a Superman fan. And over the years, it's only gotten more and more intense, I would say. And I wanted to find a way, a few years down the line, of documenting my collection, so I didn't buy the same thing twice. And that failed, because I'm always buying the same thing twice. But I got Instagram. A friend suggested the app to me, and I thought, that looks fun. That could be a fun way for me to document my collection, take photographs, and know what I've got. And over time, I discovered that, actually, this is a social media app. People can see what I'm posting. And I found like-minded followers all over the world and formed some fantastic friendships that are still going strong today. And over the years, I would say I was anonymous at first. My face was behind the camera. But over the years, I stepped out of the shadows, as it were, and stepped out of comfort zones, which is another thing that I will get to, and got in front of the camera. And I enjoyed it. I enjoyed sharing my passions, but speaking with people around the world that wanted to share theirs as well. I've often said this on podcasts, is that when somebody starts talking about anything that they love, a little light starts to turn on inside them, and you see them become more animated and expressive and happy, like a lighthouse or a Care Bear. And I've enjoyed that so much over the years that I wanted to make sure that I kept on doing that. And through the Geek of Steel and the podcast of Steel, it's something that I've maintained, and I've loved speaking with creators around the world and collectors and artists. And it's been a wonderful journey that I hope never ends, because it's been wonderfully joyful. And yes, the Geek of Steel came to be. Luke Bugg, the Geek of Steel, as it were. I became Frankenstein's monster. And with that, there was 1 year where I thought, if I'm going to give this a go, I'm really going to go at it. So I got the website, I did more work, I sent out more emails, I became more out there in the open. I became the Geek of Steel, and I embraced those moments. And with that, I learned a lot about myself when it came to representing yourself as a brand, gaining confidence, talking to a camera, talking to a microphone without anybody else around. And I enjoyed it. It was a passion that was always there, and it turned into a hobby and almost a second job for me, and one that I've enjoyed so much ever since. I think the moment that it all happened was at the Batman v Superman red carpet event. I wanted to go there to be part of the red carpet and see the stars walk down and attend the premiere. So I got to London very early in the morning to get a security wristband, which meant that I was able to go back later on and go inside the pen, as it were, to watch the stars arrive. And I had a fantastic time. I met some great people as we queued and waited for hours to see them. And I wasn't really going there with an agenda. I just wanted to see how this was going to be. And all the stars arrived. Gal Gadot and Ben Affleck and Jesse Eisenberg and, of course, Henry Cavill. Now, back then, I still am fingers and thumbs. These are sausage fingers, which aren't very good at taking selfies. But as I saw Henry Cavill come down the red carpet, I thought, I need to get a photograph. I need to document this moment. And I was trying to hold the camera while I was also trying to get him sign my cap. I didn't have anything with me, but I did have a Sharpie just in case. I'll always be prepared. And I took off my cap and wanted him to sign it if he could. But I had hands everywhere. So I thought, nope, I'll put the phone down. I'll be in the moment. And I was. And it was fantastic. And there was a moment where Mr. Cavill took my cap, signed the peak. I managed to shake his hand and say thank you for everything that he's done for the world of Superman. That moment happened in an absolute flash. And once it was over, I was, of course, very happy and excited. I had his signature on a hat, and I shook Superman's hand. And I thought, oh no, I'm going to have to share this with the world, and I've got no proof, as it were. But as I was on the long train home, a very excitable Luke, with his hat and his smile and his memories, I got a notification from some friends saying, are you wearing a red hoodie? I was like, yeah, that's a bit of an odd question. And the whole premiere was being live streamed on YouTube. There were so many people there in the audience, screaming and getting excited to see these celebrities. And at the very moment when Mr. Cavill took my cap and signed it and shook my hand, that was being streamed around the world. So I quickly found that footage and I took as many screenshots as I possibly could. And I was like, okay, my face is out in the open now. That is me, Luke Bugg, but also Luke Bugg, the Geek of Steel. And that day, it was a lot of me stepping out of comfort zones, going to London, meeting new people, doing new things that I hadn't done before. And I had so much fun doing it. And that moment for me of meeting Superman was very important on my journey to being the Geek of Steel. And on the trip home, I was like, this is fun. Sharing what I love, talking about Superman, sharing my adventures with the world. And I was like, yeah, let's do more of this. And from that moment, it did really it took off in a big way. I interviewed as many people as I could. I sent emails to companies asking how I can represent their projects and talk about DC Comics and talk about Superman. And over the years, with the determination and manners and professionalism, if you can call me that, I've had some fantastic moments. I've worked with DC Comics, I've worked with Warner Brothers, I've been to premieres, I've been able to interview stars and celebrities and comic creators that I never thought I would be able to do. And that came from my love for Superman. That came from me wanting to be a Superman fan and, again, become an ambassador, to be a representative for my hero. And I've loved every single moment. I've shared my stories now online for many years, and I've met some fantastic people around the world. It's been absolutely joyful. One of those places being the Superman celebration in Metropolis. And that was in Chicago, Illinois. And what a time that was. I went there in 2018, 2019. And it was, as comfort zones go, that was a big one because it was halfway around the world. I didn't know anybody in this town. I was going to be a complete fish out of water. So, grabbed my trusty journal and I started planning. I booked hotels, I booked flights, I researched the trip. I talked to the tourism board of Metropolis. I talked to the mayor. I talked to Chad, who was a fantastic resident in Metropolis, who really helped me out. And we still chat today. And he's a fantastic guy. And my advice to anybody that is considering going to this event, it happens every June. I say, do it. If you're in America, do it. If you're somewhere around the world, go. Put this on your Superman bucket list. It is an amazing event. And I was able to see this beautiful town transform overnight into this fantastic and majestic Superman celebration. There is the fantastic Superman Museum. There's a cosplay parade. There are street vendors. There's fantastic food. There's stars. There are comic creators and artists. It is a whirlwind event. And I miss it. And one day I hope to go back. The Superman celebration for me was, as comfort zones go, one of my biggest. And as soon as I got there, I was treated with so much welcoming and so much joy that a little part of me is still in Metropolis. Quite literally, as there is a fantastic cookie and coffee shop called Sissy's, and I gave them a Superman Funko Pop with one of my stickers on, and that is still proudly behind the counter. Fantastic coffee and fantastic cookies. If you're going to Metropolis, check out Sissy's coffee shop and look for my Funko Pop. It's a beautiful town, beautiful people. And they've just announced that this year's guest will be Dean Cain. When I went there in 2018, it was for I believe, their 40th anniversary. And I got to meet Brandon Routh. And that was an amazing time. An absolutely amazing time. And it still brings me joy thinking about that special, special week. Fantastic adventure. But then I came back. Woe is me. But I still had my love for Superman and my memories of that particular trip. It was an amazing time. And as I said, I went back the second year and I was like, wow, I'm home in a way. This is brilliant. But over the years, that's been one of my biggest trips, as well as going to San Diego Comic-Con last year with Paul from DC World. Big shout out to Paul. We had an amazing time in LA and San Diego Comic-Con, checking out the Warner Brothers studio tour, where we saw some fantastic Superman costumes, and then going to San Diego Comic-Con and being there when so much was released, including the new or old DC Comics logo, and seeing everybody go absolutely berserk for the DC booth. There were so many Superman t-shirts and so many hats and merchandise on display that we still managed to get some. It was a brilliant trip. And again, comfort zones. I'm not the best of travelers. I do get quite anxious, even though I plan with such great detail. I'm an overthinker, so I always think about the worst possible outcome, and that doesn't help. But with planning and A's and plan B's and plan C's, there's always a way out of any tricky situation. But San Diego Comic-Con was a magical trip with Paul, and we looked after each other on that trip. I don't think we could have done that one solo because there was a lot of work involved. But it just goes to show you never know who you are going to meet when you embrace your passions and share your passions with other people. Fun story about Paul Edwards from DC World and Geek Garage. We were both at the Batman v Superman premiere, pretty much on opposite sides of the red carpet, penned into different areas. But we were both there on that night, had an amazing time, and we are still great friends now that we've met each other over the years, and we've even traveled around the world to embrace our passions, our love for Superman and pop culture. And it's just one of those wonderful things that can happen that I didn't know would happen from me embracing my love for Superman. Superman continues to bring me joy, and I feel like I'm waffling. If I'm waffling, I apologize. I've got these notes here that I'm trying to get through, but it brings me joy, as you can probably see from the smile on my face, talking about the impact that Superman has had on my life and turning me into the Geek of Steel. Now, I've talked about Smallville. My love for Smallville will always be there because that is what really introduced me to this world. And the second time I went back to the Superman celebration, I was asked to host a panel on the main stage and interview two people, Helen Slater being Supergirl and Erica Durance that played Lois Lane. When I was asked to do this by the wonderful Chad, I said yes straight away. There was a comfort zone there that I considered long after I stepped out of it and agreed to do so, but I had a fantastic time. That panel is online. I shall share a link to that in this video. But I got on stage in front of quite a few people, which was daunting enough to talk about my love for Superman, but also interview, essentially, Lois Lane and Supergirl. And I had an amazing time doing that. It certainly gave me more passion for journalism and wanting to be the person that asks questions, but also interacts with the answers that I'm given. And that has led to some fantastic more interviews over the years. I've had some fantastic moments where I've spoken with Kevin Smith, when I've spoken with artists and writers at Comic-Cons, even my own hometown Comic-Con, Portsmouth Comic-Con. The first time that happened in 2018, I believe. They had some brilliant comic writers there, as they do each year, but they had Louise and Walter Simonson that came all the way from America, and Frank Quitely that worked on All-Star Superman. And I was able to be a member of the press for that particular con. And over the years, I'm still a big fan of the con. I'm an ambassador. I'll be going back there in a few weeks' time on May the 3rd and 4th. And even I'll be speaking with John from Express FM. And I will be on a Superman panel talking about James Gunn's Superman film and my love for the character. And that makes me happy and excited thinking about that. But over the years, my love for speaking with anybody that is passionate about their craft or their hobby or their hero or whatever brings them joy, it is so much fun for me. It's therapy to be able to sit down and speak with someone about happiness and positivity and joy. The world, especially the internet, can be a dark place. So I've always done my best to keep my channels and my content positive and family friendly and user friendly. And it's not always happened. There have been some negative moments in the past, but My advice to you, if you are going through that yourself, is mute people, block people, mute words or phrases or hashtags. Life is there to be enjoyed. And if we can interact with people around the world and talk and debate about the things that bring us joy, brilliant. But if there are people out there that are enjoying making you sad, making your time unenjoyable, remove them from the situation. That is my advice. That's how that's as serious as I'm going to get on this podcast, I feel. But that is my advice for you. But yes, I've met some fantastic people over the years. I have been very fortunate. I have been proud of the things that I've gotten up to, and there are still more things that I wish to do in the future. But some of the big things that have happened to me, of course, I've traveled to cons and I've had fantastic opportunities to speak with those heroes that have portrayed Superman over the years. And I've met celebrities when helping to promote movies. One of the first people that I spoke with was Zachary Levi at a red carpet event for the first Shazam film quite a few years ago. I met Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson at a press event for Black Adam, and I had a fantastic, surreal moment where when he came in and introduced to the rest of the DC UK family, as they are called, we got to introduce ourselves. And as I always do, I say, I'm Luke Bugg, the Geek of Steel. And Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson shook my hand and said, "Yes, you are." And that was a surreal moment, to say the least. A fantastic human. Again, somebody that is so passionate about their craft, for acting, for movies, for wrestling. Just a very unique individual. And who knows, our paths may cross again one day. And I've just loved every moment where I am out doing what I do, which is representing the geek community. I'm so grateful for every opportunity that I get when I can talk about Superman, talk about heroes, talk about joy. And I wish that I could take each and every one of you along with me. I will never gatekeep Superman. It's impossible to do so. I am grateful and so happy to do what I do. It's not every day you get to meet the people that make your stories happen, and I will never forget that. And it's hard work at times. I've shared many podcasts and answered many questions over the years about how other people can do this, as it were, become a blogger, become a fan or an ambassador for something that they love. And you're going to get a lot of no's. That is my advice. You're going to get shut down a lot. But persist. Keep doing what you do. Show these companies why they would want to work with you, why they are happy for you to represent their brand. Because I get that. I understand what I am. The word social media influencer doesn't always come across the best in some situations. I much prefer being an ambassador for Superman, for the geek community. But I understand what comes with me doing things online, promoting movies, promoting items, promoting merchandise. I would never do that unless I was proud or wanting to promote said thing. I'm not just a sandwich board, as it were. I'm not just a billboard for your product. And I'm so proud to say that I have worked essentially for Superman. DC Comics is Superman's boss, and I have worked with them quite a few times. And I hope to do so more in the future, especially this year with James Gunn's Superman film coming out. Superman Day, today. It's who knows what we're going to get when this goes live. Maybe we will know, but there's certainly lots of buzz around the internet about Superman Day, and that brings me so much happiness. I've got lots of videos to share on Superman Day, and photographs, and this podcast and projects with the wonderful Derek. And we are talking about Superman. The world is talking about Superman. And I'm just happy when that happens. I'm getting giddy again. I'm getting bubbly, and I'm losing the words that were in my head. But I should go back to my trusty notes. And if I did get stuck, I've also got this by the side of me. Fantastic Superman Encyclopedia. Never leave home without one. But it's quite big, so maybe be careful if you are leaving home with it. But if you've not gathered by now, I love Superman. That's what this podcast is all about. My love for the character, my love for the fandom, my love for the escapism. And in a million years, I would never have believed that I have done some of the things that I have done, whether that be going to London for a Comic-Con or going around the world for a Comic-Con, or, like I did quite recently, I was able to help promote Super/Man, the Christopher Reeve documentary, which is a beautiful film. If you haven't seen it, I can't recommend it enough. We are all aware, sadly, of the terrible accident that Christopher Reeve had, but we don't tend to know too much about what happened after that, or what happened to his family. And this beautiful documentary featuring the Reeve family was so well done and very emotional, but so powerful. I got to help promote that last year by speaking with the directors and the producers, and Ilian, the fantastic composer of the soundtrack. It was a joy to be a part of that journey. And I went to London to see the film with some of the rest of the DC family, and boy, was that emotional. And afterwards, we went to a roundtable event where we spoke with the producers and the directors and learned more about this fantastic film. And then at the end, which we didn't know what was going to happen, is we met the remaining Christopher Reeve family, Christopher's children. And that was a powerful, powerful moment, to say the least, to be able to hear their stories and thank them for this, such a personal thing to do. I think that's when I shared my last solo podcast, talking about that day, talking about that experience. And I'll try not to think about it too much right now because it will make me emotional again. I lost my father when I was 15, and there were so many memories that came flooding back from watching that documentary that I thought I had locked away in a deep, dark cavern within me. And it brought them all back. And it made me ask questions of my own family to find out some new memories about my dad. And it gave me a stronger connection to him, which was a wonderful thing. So again, in a way, I've got more things to thank Superman for giving me a stronger relationship with my dad, giving me a stronger connection with the world of literature. I wasn't the best of readers when I was young, but getting into graphic novels at a young age opened up a world of fantastic books. And over the last few years, which is probably why my eyesight has got even worse, these glasses are not for show. I've been reading whenever I can. I have found the power of escapism into a good book, whether it be fiction or non-fiction. Books are powerful. Books can take you to new worlds, and comics have done that for me. So I think that's one of the big things about this episode, is that I'm so thankful for Superman, thankful for comics, thank you for Christopher Reeve, thankful for this community. I have met some amazing people over the years because of the Geek of Steel. I met my girlfriend because of the Geek of Steel, and she certainly helps me realize why I do this. She sees the work that I put in, and she is passionate, and she wants me to be the best Geek of Steel that I can be. And she has been helping me out as well, telling me when to perhaps step away from the computer, or when I've had enough screen time. And I can't wait for Portsmouth Comic Con because she will be coming along and helping me. The girlfriend of Steel, as it is, she has her own clipboard and she's very excited. And it's going to be a fantastic weekend. And to enjoy this community and these events and these fandoms with a significant other is a beautiful thing. And that has really, really brought me so much joy this year. And I can't wait to see what adventures we go on in the future. And it's a big year, so the adventures are going to be happening. I can't wait to talk more about Superman over the upcoming months, especially with the new film that is coming out in July. James Gunn's Superman movie. Will we get a new poster today? Will we get any new images? James Gunn has announced that there won't be a new trailer on Superman Day, but he is quite the showman, so I'm hoping for some surprises. We've had a few official images and videos released. I mentioned that online recently, is that lots of images and videos have leaked from the set of Superman and Supergirl, which is heartbreaking. And sadly, I can't really avoid those because I get tagged in posts, I get images sent directly to me. But I made a promise many years ago that I would not share unofficial set leaked photographs or videos. It is not fair to the film team or the writers, directors, producers, cast and crew that have put all this work in. And even though those images and videos might be out there, I'm not going to share them. I won't do that. That is sort of, I would say, the integrity that I have towards my hero in this fandom is that I will not share leaked images. I don't want to spoil it for those that are excited to see it for the first time and in its best light, as it were. But we've seen that trailer. We've seen Krypto. We've seen some of the merchandise already, and there is so much more to come. My wallet is not looking forward to the merchandise, but I am. Toys, t-shirts, hats, dog toys. I'm hoping for some McDonald's merchandise as well. That would be very exciting. It's just, I keep saying it, it's a fantastic time to be a Superman fan. And I'm just giddy with enjoyment. I'm ready to lose it over that film, to watch it time and time again, to analyze every single scene, to look for the Easter eggs, to enjoy that amazing, amazing soundtrack with hints to the John Williams score. Again, I'm going through the files of memories in my head, and a few years ago I got to see Superman 1978 inside the Royal Albert Hall with the Royal Symphonic Orchestra performing the soundtrack live as the film was projected. And that was the first time I saw that film on the big screen. Many people say that film is the go-to superhero movie for its visuals and storytelling and music. And wow, that was a fantastic memory, hearing that score inside that magnificent Royal Albert Hall. And I'm looking forward to hearing the new score, John Murphy's score. When that gets released, I'll be listening to that all day long. My head now is just spinning with excitement for the future months. Oh, I'm really getting distracted. I was guessing that would happen on this podcast, but it's going to be a very exciting few months. And the fact that today, Superman Day, I'm recording this a few days before to give you some behind the scenes magic. It's going to be a fun time. I've got lots of videos to share, lots of thoughts about Superman, some videos and some images, and a worldwide giveaway with lots of exciting items, and I will be that will be shared possibly later on in the day, but then eventually there will be a link to that giveaway in this YouTube video and in this podcast. So click on that to be in with a chance to win a whole box of super goodies, which is just my way of giving back a little bit and representing Superman. I wish I could give each and every one of you some Superman swag and some Geek of Steel stickers. But if you ever see me in public, which has happened a few times, which is fun, come and say hello. I want to talk with you about Superman, pretty much. And I always have stickers on me ready to hand out. And yes, it's just exciting. I'm thinking about Comic-Con in a few upcoming weeks. I'm thinking about the Superman film. I'm thinking about exciting trips that could be happening in the future. And that's what I love doing, looking for those things that bring me joy, that give you some escapism, something to look forward to. We must do that. We must cling on to hope, much like Superman encourages us to do. I think I've covered most things. I think. But what else was there? Well, I've got this. We can talk about this a little bit. Now, this isn't what I'm giving away for the giveaway, but this is my copy of Action Comics. Of course, it's not an original. This came with a collector's box set a few years ago. And I thought, if I'm going to go to these Comic-Cons around the world and meet people that have created Superman artwork and created Superman stories over the years, maybe I should ask them nicely to sign this and say, look, you're a part of Superman's legacy. So over the years, the fantastic people that have signed this are Frank Quitely, Chris Weston, Louise and Walter Simonson, Brian Azzarello, Jim Chung, Dave Dorman, Jorge Jimenez, Billy Tucci, the late great George Perez, Gary Frank, Kian Tormey, Tim Sheridan, Gail Simone, Marv Wolfman, Art Baltazar, Frank Aureliani, Jim Lee, and also the late great Tim Sale. I'm running out of room there, as you can see. I think I might have to get another one of these for the wonderful James Gunn and Superman crew and cast to sign. Now, I don't know if that's going to happen. I might bump into them one day. I never know. But I will also never assume that I'm going to meet these people. But I'm hopeful that I do. I want to thank each and every one of them for continuing to tell Superman's story, to be the people that help share Superman's legacy with the rest of the world. Without Superman, this is me on the soapbox now, without Superman and without this comic, without Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster's work, we would not have any of the entertainment that we have today. We wouldn't have the comics. We wouldn't have movies. We wouldn't have TV shows. We wouldn't have entertainment like we do right now. So we must be thankful to Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster and DC Comics and everybody that is a part of the comic community. It's always DC versus Marvel, but it's not. It's comics. I love Marvel. I love DC, but Superman has the biggest chunk of my heart. And without this comic, without Action Comics #1 and Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster, we wouldn't have what we have today. And that is why, with Derek from the Super House of L, we are proud to be helping out with the Siegel and Shuster Society podcast, talking about Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster and the statues that will be hopefully coming to Cleveland, Ohio, the home of Superman. Bring Superman home. And they are hoping to create some statues this year, some magnificent Superman statues, including a phone booth, which is awesome. There will be links to that in this podcast as well. If you can become a member of the Siegel and Shuster Society, or if you could donate to get those statues made so the world can continue to thank Superman's creators, the Shuster and Siegel Society. It's again, I'm mumbling and I feel myself rambling, but this is the year of Superman. And I am so thankful for so many things, for making friends like Derek and Paul from DC World and Kibler and Tasmin and Neil, so many people around the world that embrace their passions and are reporting events and sharing their reviews online and putting the work in for the love of escapism, for the love of heroes and storytelling. It makes me so happy to do that, to give up spare time and work those extra long hours in front of a computer screen to make sure that you hit those deadlines and you're ready when that embargo finishes and you're allowed to share your thoughts and your work. It's a beautiful world to be in, and it's a world that I never thought I would be a part of. So I'm grateful for every single opportunity and for each and every listener and watcher and person that is happy for me to share what I get up to and to talk about my collection and to talk about my love for Superman. And on that note, before I ramble on for too long, the question that I always ask my guests and creators and artists and cosplayers, I love to ask people, what does Superman mean to you? So, Luke Bugg, the Geek of Steel, what does Superman mean to you? Thank you, Luke, for asking that magnificent question. I've heard this question answered so many times over the years, and my answer often changes. It could be the fact that I enjoy the escapism of a movie or a book or a comic where I can leave this world and dive into something else so that I can either enjoy a moment or change my mood by finding some escapism, finding the hope, finding the joy, finding the sunshine in a Superman story when sometimes you might not think that you'll ever see a sunny day again. Superman can do that. Escapism can do that. Superman is not from this earth. Superman chose to be here. Superman chose hope, and Superman chooses to do the right thing. He could have landed on this earth and become the biggest megalomaniac we have ever seen. Power hungry. And in some stories, we have seen that happen. But in the majority of Superman stories, Superman chooses hope. He chooses the right thing to do. And he learns. He's always learning. Goodness me, I've made some mistakes in my life, but so has Superman. But he has learnt from. And for me, Superman, it is always a learning opportunity. With every TV show, with every film, with every new comic, with every classic story. There are so many Superman stories that I have not read yet, and I'm looking forward to reading them. But I love just the basic elements of Superman. He is there to do good. He is heroic. He's there to help people. There's so much there to enjoy about Superman. And yes, we're going to get those arguments over the years that Superman is overpowered, or that he's too much of a good guy, or he's corny, or he's cheesy. I love every element about Superman and Clark Kent, and with that, Lois Lane, and Krypto, and the Daily Planet, and Lex. I'm really rambling on, but basically I love everything about Superman. That world that I can dive into and read stories that I've read 100 times before, or read stories that I haven't read yet. There's something magical about escapism when we need to enjoy something, when we need entertainment, when we need to step away from our day-to-day lives, whether it be work or family or life, and sit down and get lost in a world of creativity for a little bit. Somebody else's story, somebody else's artwork, somebody else's definition of what Superman can be. And for me, that is what Superman is. Superman has always been escapism. From the day-to-dayness, from the boredom, from the mundane, from the stress. When I want to relax, laugh, enjoy my time, I'm going to be watching TV or reading a book or talking about Superman with other people. Superman to me means so much, and it's an impossible question for me to answer, which is why this might be the longest answer to this question that I've ever heard, and it's coming out of my mouth. But I just enjoy talking about Superman. I enjoy everything about Superman. So, short answer to that question is he means a lot. I doubt I'll be able to clip that particular part of the podcast, but he does mean a lot. He means so much to me and so many more wonderful people all around the world. So, it's Superman Day. Talk about Superman. Watch Superman. Wear Superman. Enjoy Superman. Embrace the hero. Just like I do pretty much every single day on the internet and in real life. The tapestry of Superman, the legacy of Superman, it is almost a century old. So thank you, Jerry Siegel. Thank you, Joe Shuster. Thank you to each and every person that has portrayed Superman and Clark Kent and Lois Lane over the years. My gratitude for all those performers and creators will always be shared. Thank you, James Gunn. Thank you, DC Comics. Thank you, Warner Brothers. And thank you to you, to the listeners, to the watchers, to the followers around the world who help me want to keep doing this, to share my passions with you all. I love being the Geek of Steel. I love being Luke Bugg. But with those two powers combined, much like Captain Planet, I become joyful. I become passionate and creative. And I want to try new things and step out of comfort zones. And that is why I'm thankful for Superman, for all of that and so much more. And if you've gotten to the end of this episode, thank you. I'm grateful for you as well. I may have rambled a fair bit, but I wanted to share some words on Superman Day about what Superman means to me. And if I look at my checklist of things I needed to talk about, I think I've covered most of it. I think so. But there's always another episode of the podcast of Steel.
Sure. I found some podcasts you might be interested in.
And that's Alexa. Alexa, not today, thank you. But
the rest is politics, right?
Alexa, I'm halfway through a podcast. Please, can you stop? There she goes. But as I was saying, as I was rudely interrupted, I adore being the Geek of Steel and sharing my love for Superman. And I will never stop doing that. So you can expect a lot more of me this year, especially with Superman panels and Superman events at Comic-Cons and the Superman movie. There are going to be reviews. I'm going to be dissecting this movie with people around the world who have seen it and enjoyed it. And I can't wait to talk more about this film, to talk more about Krypto, to talk more about James Gunn, David Corenswet, Rachel Brosnahan, Nick Holt. I want to talk about every single person that is in this film. It's going to be an amazing summer. It truly is the summer of Superman, the year of Superman, the century of Superman. I'm excited for everything that is coming out soon, and I look forward to speaking with all of you more about it soon on Instagram, on Facebook, on X, on Threads, on the podcast of Steel. Links to all my social media channels are in the bottom of this podcast. Please like, comment, share, subscribe, review. It always helps. But once again, thank you for allowing me to be the Geek of Steel, to share my life with you all and to share passions and happiness. It is what I love to do online, and I have no intention of stopping anytime soon. I am Luke Bugg, the Geek of Steel. Thank you for listening, and I will be back very soon.